I'm Cindy Olsen, and welcome to Groton. Today we have with us Groton Town Manager John Burt, and we're discussing the proposed fiscal year ending 2025 town budget. John, welcome.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I think we should do this once a year.
Yeah.
So here we are at today's recording. How is the budget looking?
Well, I just finished the town manager's version of the budget, which had to be completed by March 15th.
Oh, yeah.
So right now, the budget's up by about 6.2% or 9.4 million.
Okay.
Now, I do anticipate that'll come down through the process as we go along.
Right. So how are you feeling about it so far?
I mean, it's a good budget. You know, I'd like to see it decrease as we get through the process, but
Right.
we'll get there. You know.
All right. So what is the process, John? What are we looking at here?
Well, we really start this process in late September, so it's about half the year, the process, so
Yeah.
close or even more. But I start asking departments to start thinking about their capital projects, about their budgets. Capital projects have to be in, I think it's about end of November,
Yep.
so they can be put together into a plan, and then I can review. And then all the department budgets are due to me early January. We start meeting. I meet repeatedly with departments, going through what they're asking for, deciding on which cuts to make in the budget.
Right.
So I have to make my decisions, and then we get the Board of Ed budget from them, as well as the subdivision request, Groton Long Point, the city, that I just have to incorporate into the budget.
Right.
And so at this point, we'll actually have, so my budget's done. It'll go, we'll have a public hearing next Wednesday, the 27th, at 6 p.m. at Thrive 55 Plus.
Yep.
So that'll be the public hearing. I'll present the town-wide budget, and Superintendent Austin will present the Board of Ed budget. And that kicks off the town council's role in the budget.
Okay.
At that point, they start meeting pretty much every weeknight for several weeks to go through each piece of the budget, make their changes. Once they complete that, then it goes on to the committees of the representative town meeting. They make their recommendations. Then it finally goes to the representative town meeting, who spends a couple of weeks every night going through the budget also. So it's a pretty lengthy budget process.
So from you to the town council, weekly meetings, to the RTM, more meetings.
Yes.
And it's not a short little, it's a big stack, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's
a big budget.
It's pretty substantial. Yeah. But I love that you guys break it down. If you've never seen the budget, for those of you out there, we'll tell you at the end where you can find it. But yeah, you can break it down item by item.
Yeah.
Positions.
And you can see what's changed in the budget at the beginning of each department, or whatever it is, Board of Ed. You can see through our budget what it was last year, what it is this year, how much it's going up, as well as what the departments actually asked for, because of course I get the requests and then I make changes from there. But you can actually see what they did ask for.
That's good. So speaking of that, the big requests, what are the big ticket numbers this year?
What's driving the budget? Education, for one. They're up about 6.5 million. They have a 7.91% increase. That's by far our biggest. The whole budget's up about 9.4 million, so 6.5 of that is education.
Okay.
The town operations departments are up by about 1.8 million.
Okay.
And then I'm sure we're going to delve into that a bit.
Yeah.
And then the outside, the subdivisions, Groton Long Point City, and the fire departments, that's up by a little over 1.1 million.
Okay.
And then our capital projects is up by about 880,000. Those are the big, broad categories.
Yeah, the big ones.
Yes.
Okay. So speaking of CIPs or capital improvement, what are those big projects for 2025?
Yeah, we always have to cut a lot of the requests out.
Yeah.
I think I had about 14.5 million in requests.
Oh, wow.
And a couple of those were very large ticket items for the Board of Ed for athletic facilities. However, so it started at about 14.5 and it ended at about 4.3.
Okay.
And that's really pretty much bare necessities. That's mostly public works and IT. That's there's not much else.
You really cut that down.
Yes, we really cut it down.
Wow.
And one thing that enabled that is we've received some ARPA, some American Rescue Plan Act dollars. We were able to catch up a little bit on our Parks and Rec. So we took a little bit of a break on Parks and Rec this year. Since the last 2 years, we did fund quite a bit. We also took a large amount out of our capital projects fund balance for Sutton Park recently. So
Yeah.
so there's a lot of work going on with Parks and Rec.
those are a lot of the visual improvements that the community can see.
Yeah,
But sometimes the ITs and those improvements people don't see.
Yeah,
but those are big things.
Yeah, the firewall and the protection, is
Yes,
is important.
very important.
Now, out of 4.3 right off the bat, you take it's 1.3 just for the road work, and that just is kind of keeping us even. It's not really gaining anything. It's
That's
kind of
just
the bare
like
necessity.
okay.
300,000 for sidewalk repairs.
Oh, wow.
We have that every year. We have the library's roof, almost 500,000 right there. We're starting to see more resilience projects have to be put in the budget.
Okay.
We're having some engineering plans done for some work on gravel and pearl for flooding. The Willow Point area, we're looking at what we can do there. Replacing a culvert on River Road. So it's a lot of that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So.
Absolute necessities, but not super fun.
Right. Yeah. Oof, that's a lot. So you mentioned the subdivisions and the outside increases. Is there any more you can tell us about those?
Sure. And with Groton Long Point and the city, we're required by state statute to pay for their highway budgets. Now, of course, there will be some negotiations on that. We pay about 50%-ish of the police coverage for those subdivisions. Okay. So the city, and those, especially because of the public works, we have materials and utilities are going up. You have vehicle needs, so those could swing quite a bit from year to year. The city's up a little under 500,000 this year. Groton Long Point a little under 200,000. Now, one big change is we get about 1.5 million a year for pilot dollars from the state, where non-taxable land that the state doesn't pay, they give us some of it back.
Okay.
And the town council adopted a new formula we've always given some of it to the fire districts.
Okay.
We're giving more now. We're giving about half of it to the fire districts, which is about a $500,000 increase for the fire part of that.
That's very nice.
Right.
You spoke to those increases. And you did speak about pilot. What is a pilot program?
Payment in lieu of taxes. So, of course, state land like Bluff Point is not taxable. However, the state tries to make up for some of that, not near what we're really missing if it was on the tax rolls, but they make up some.
Okay.
It's about 1.5 million a year. Now we're giving half of that to the fire districts. So, yeah, every bit helps. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so the other big ticket item we usually discuss is personnel. Increase of healthcare, increase of insurance, all that. How are we looking there?
Yeah, healthcare, well, the personnel is 75 to 80% of most any budget, so that's by far the biggest thing. We have a lot of collective bargaining units. We try to keep parity between those as well as the non-union. So there's, of course, going to be wage increases every year that, we have. The town proper has around 260 full-time employees, so it adds up to quite a bit. But on top of it, again, like a department like Public Works, the utilities are, the utilities costs run through them. Utilities are up. Some of the materials like salt are up.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those
little
things.
we don't think about,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and then we are looking at potentially adding a couple positions on, which has driven up the personnel cost a bit.
Okay.
We're looking in the planning department. We right now have a resilience and sustainability manager. Done a great job. She, I think, the last year, close to $700,000 in grants that she's obtained. Yeah, Megan Granado, fantastic.
Yeah.
We're looking at now, of course, you have to manage those grants when you get the money. And so that's part of the issue is just one grant alone that she received is probably going to take about 50% of her time to manage it for the next 2 years. So we're looking at another resilience person to help manage and allow us to keep going after these grant dollars.
Yeah.
And what I'm starting to see in the capital projects is more and more is going to be going towards resilience projects. We already have a lot of flooding issues, so anything that she can get saves tax dollars later. So this is really an instance of spending money to get money.
Yeah, and so for those who don't know about grants, when you have a grant like that, you have to show the reporting and the documents, and sometimes
some of them can be very onerous.
Right, some of it's almost daily, if not weekly. Yeah.
Yes. And then police department, actually we're going to find out this week, we're trying to get a CALIA accredited in the police department, meaning it's basically the top of the accreditation you can get. And they make sure all your policies are spot on where they need to be. They do a thorough review. It took us more than a year to prepare to apply for that.
Wow.
We find out, we're anticipating this week getting the nod that yes, we're certified, but we're looking at, it's a colossal amount of work to keep it. We're looking at an accreditation manager, maybe adding that. And then Parks and Rec, we've been trying to get them right. There's a lot more that Parks and Rec do that most people don't know.
Yes, they do.
You know, besides all the big parks we know about,
Yep.
of course, but there's also a whole lot of little subdivision pocket parks that they mow and 13 cemeteries that they maintain. And most people would have no idea. So we're looking at one more groundskeeper there.
And the staff isn't, I don't think it's even past a dozen.
There's less than that for those who actually do that kind of work.
Right,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
that's a lot.
And so, and then the libraries look at one part-time person to help out with programming activities as well as the circulation department. So.
Nice. We love our police, our library,
Yes.
and our Parks and Recreation.
Now, we did have some other requests for positions. We did have to cut some out. And then we'll see how the discussions, we'll discuss these needs with the town council and see how that goes.
Yeah. And so when that happens, who, for somebody on the outside, who gets the last say on this?
Well, ultimately, the town council has to approve, in the budget they pass, it actually lists out the positions. That's the bottom line on positions. Now, if the RTM makes a cut, then we have to figure out where we're going to make that. You know, if
Okay.
they say you need to take out 10%, okay, well, we'll go back and we'll figure that out.
John, great stuff. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back with more about the fiscal year ending 2025 proposed town budget.
Regardless of where you are on your path to retirement, you can still take charge of your financial future today. Visit aceyourretirement.org and answer a few questions from Avo, your friendly digital retirement coach, for free tips, resources, and advice customized for your situation to help you feel confident and prepared for retirement. Retirement looks different for everyone. Make sure you're prepared for your financial future at aceyourretirement.org.
When you see orange, know there's a work zone ahead. Know there are trucks and heavy equipment. Know there are people hard at work right there. Know that they have loved ones to go home to. And so do you. Speed safety cameras are now helping make work zones safer. Please do your part. Slow down, follow the signs, and know the zone.
Welcome back to Welcome to Groton. I'm here today with John Burt, our Groton Town Manager, and we are discussing the fiscal year ending 2025 budget. John, we have all these new businesses and expansions happening in Groton. We have EB getting an influx of work and potential staff, huge amounts, right, coming in. We have the Chelsea Bank coming with their expansion, the Triton Square housing project. How are we looking with all that? Does that help our situation with the budget?
It will in the shortly, however, not quite yet in 25. Just a little bit of the value of electric boats construction has started, but just the bare minimum.
Okay.
And also you have to keep in mind that they have an enterprise, they're in an enterprise zone, they get a tax break, so it is sort of muted over the next 10 years too. However, with these other things you mentioned, for instance, Triton Square, that's going to be I believe our third largest taxpayer at over $1 million a year once it's occupied. So another year or so we'll start seeing that.
Okay.
That's the same as a lot of the things you're seeing going on. You know, they could take a year or two before they actually start paying the taxes. So we're very hopeful in the near future.
That's good. So in saving money, how much has the fund balance helped offset the budget?
Yeah, you know, the goal for our general fund balance is about 20%. That's what as we go through the bond rating when we sell bonds, they like to see at least a 20% fund balance. So we try to make sure that we keep that. We're at about 22% now.
Okay.
Now, when we go over 20%, every year we look at whether we can use some of our excess to offset the taxes collected, which we've done that every year for the last several years. This year, I've proposed $4 million to offset it. Of course, the council could choose to do whatever they want. They could do more or less. But that is something we try to do, is we don't want to have an excess amount of fund balance, you know, just enough for emergencies and to you know, please the financial people.
There you go, yeah. You don't want too much in the pocket. So how are we looking compared to other towns? How's our mill rate right now?
Well, for 24, we're the second lowest mill rate in the region, I believe.
Nice.
We're at 23.13. The average is a little under 27.
Okay.
However, we are looking with the increase, if nothing changed, it will change, but if nothing changed, and we have that, it's about 9.4 million increase overall. If that stayed static and we use 4 million fund balance, it'd be about a 1.94 mil increase.
Okay.
About 1.3 of that's from the schools, and the rest kind of between the departments and the subdivisions.
Right.
But so we'll see where that ends up. So it would go up to a 24.07 if all holds, which is still quite a bit lower than the average is this year. But
Right.
but obviously our goal is to keep it down as low as possible.
Sounds like you've done some good work with that.
Yeah,
So
we're
thank
trying.
you. Yeah. No. So what are some of the bigger challenges that you're meeting or seeing as you enter this?
You know, for a while there, well, capital projects for the last few years, you know, you think you have a good budget and it comes in over, like, you know, so we've had a couple of years of that. They seem to be stabilizing a bit now. Material costs went up some in the last couple of years. That, you know,
Definitely.
that's stabilizing. Our utilities, though, are going up quite a bit for next year. You're
Yeah.
seeing all the utilities are increasing their rates. So that is a challenge. Our salt for our public works is going up in cost.
Right.
And then ongoing for the last few years, it's been finding workers. You know, and there's certain types of jobs that we just have you know, in the old days pre-COVID, you know, we might get several dozen applications. Now, you know, we're lucky to get 2 or 3 good ones. And that's, in some departments it's stabilizing some, but it's continuing to be a challenge. But we're trying to think outside the box of how can we, you know, make sure it's a pleasant place to work and people want to work here. So I think we're making some strides.
Yeah, definitely. It is cumbersome and it is kind of peculiar, but we are doing so. So what is your overall philosophy, yours, John?
Yeah, generally speaking, the kind of the direction from the council is, okay, we want to know what truly do you think is needed to operate the towns efficiently. Now, that doesn't mean just throwing everything under the sun. That's why I cut out so much of the CIPs.
Right.
It's, you know, trying to keep it a reasonable number, but not drastically cutting unless the council calls for that.
Okay.
So that's my initial thought. Now, things like, of course, you know, looking at the extra positions, you know, the council will have to review that. You know, I do put those in because I think they're very much needed, but
Right.
But outside of that, if it comes to, let's say, cutting, I think outside departments, outside agencies that aren't, some are required that we have to pay, but a lot aren't. And so to me,
I
those
see.
are the first ones that should be cut,
Okay, so
rather than cutting positions.
right, I hear
Yeah,
you. So
yeah.
your philosophy is first
But
go
I try
outside.
to
Yeah.
you know, try to keep services for the public, but try to keep costs down as best as I can.
Right.
Right.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
You guys have a very hard job in front of you, and I appreciate it. So John, with all the taxation in the town, we know that that's one way the town gets money, but how about other ways the town gets revenue?
There are several grants. About out of the $158 million budget, about $42 million is from other grants.
Wow.
A lot of it is school grants. I think it's $27.4 million for state for education. Town gets about $6.5 million for various grants from the state. Federal education's about 4.4 or so, I believe.
That's excellent.
And then there's some other smaller ones, but then also we have about 1.3 million in charges, you know, going to the clerk's office or wherever else. So there's a variety of other
The smaller
sources of
ones.
funds.
That's good. Yeah, I think from an outlooker, you know, from somebody, just a community member, to know all these inner workings of the budget is really helpful. But sometimes I think we just look at the bigger number and we're like, that's so big. Why is that? But personnel, healthcare, you know, those are little things that add up, right?
Oh, for sure. You know, healthcare has been hard to manage over the years. This is probably the smallest increase we've had since I've been here. This year, it's about a 2.5% increase, which is about 300,000,
Okay.
which is actually, believe it or not, really good. So,
That is, yeah.
you know, it's hard to healthcare. You know, insurances just keep going up. So,
Right.
So
And again, the number sounds huge, but you said it's only a 2% increase.
2.5, yeah.
2.5,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
amazing. Great work by you all. So you said the public hearing, when is that again?
It's next Wednesday, the 27th
Okay.
at 6 p.m. at Thrive 55 Plus.
Yep.
And then both the superintendent and I will each give our budget presentations.
And then you'll take questions.
That one's just presenting at
Okay.
that point. Well, you can give comments.
Comments.
Of course, the public's welcome to comment, but we don't do Q&A
Okay.
kind of format. So.
Perfect, perfect. And so if they wanted to find the budget, where can somebody find it to look over it?
It's on our town website right now, so if you go to groton-ct.gov and go under departments under finance, you'll see reports. It's right
Okay.
there.
Okay.
And then you could also just call my office, email me, and I'll give you the link.
Okay.
So clerk's
Are there
office.
any
there'll be a
hard
copy.
copies?
There'll be
Yeah.
a copy at the clerk's office filed.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect, perfect. So again, that's the Town of Groton,
Yeah.
Connecticut
Yes.
website for the finance department, and then you drop down.
Yes. Under departments under finance to reports. Yes.
Perfect, perfect. If anyone had questions strictly to you, who do they reach out to, or?
You can email me direct at
Okay.
jburt@groton-ct.gov or call my office 860-441-6630.
John, thank you so much for doing this. I know it's tremendous work for you all. You started in September. You have many more weeks of this. It's such a huge task, but you guys are doing a great job. To you, the Town Council, RTM, kudos to all of you, so thank you. And thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
It's a good thing to explain to our community. So, and thank you for tuning in today. Again, we had John Burt, our Groton Town Manager, here today with us, talking about the fiscal year ending 2025 town budget, proposed town budget. Thanks for tuning in.